Confluences. Dawn broke over Tyrannus's red horizon as Maya and Elior emerged from the cave system. Two very different receptions awaited them. To the east, corporate security forces had established a perimeter, armored vehicles and drone sentries creating an inescapable net. To the west, a Vespri shuttle hovered, impossibly graceful against the dusty sky, its crystalline hull refracting sunlight into rainbow patterns. "Quite the welcoming committee," Maya murmured, squeezing Elior's hand before they stepped into the open. The corporate director himself had arrived, Walsh's pinched face visible through the view screen of the command vehicle. "Dr. Chen, you are in violation of multiple corporate statutes. Surrender the alien immediately." From the Vespri shuttle emerged three figures similar to Elior, but adorned with elaborate crystalline growths that Maya somehow knew indicated their elder status. Through their bond, she felt Elior's respect and apprehension. "Emissary Elior," the central figure called in the musical Vespri language, "your absence has threatened the alliance. The Sahala Ves ceremony awaits." Maya stepped forward, addressing both parties. "Before anyone makes demands, you should know we've discovered something that changes everything." She activated her tablet, projecting holographic images of the underground reservoir and its analysis. An untapped water source large enough to transform Tyrannus, purified by crystals with remarkable properties. Director Walsh's demeanor shifted instantly from authoritarian to avaricious. "Where exactly is this reservoir located, Dr. Chen?" "That information is our leverage," she replied coolly. "The Vespri have technology to access and distribute this water without damaging the ecosystem. Humans have the colonial infrastructure to use it effectively." The Vespri elders conferred silently, communicating through subtle light patterns across their skin that Maya somehow knew indicated their elder status. "You propose cooperation?" the lead elder finally asked. "I propose a new kind of alliance," Elior said, moving to stand beside Maya. "One based on mutual benefit rather than political arrangement." The elder's gaze sharpened. "You speak of abandoning your Salaha. This is unprecedented." "As is my bond with Maya Chen," Elior countered. "You can sense its strength. Attempting to separate us would cause harm to both, possibly death. Is that the foundation you wish for any alliance?" Director Walsh interrupted, impatient. "Whatever your people's customs, the corporation has prior claim to all resources on Tyrannus." "Actually," Maya interjected, "my contract specifies that any xenobiological discovery I make grants me naming rights and 20% ownership. These crystals qualify. They're living organisms, not minerals." She smiled thinly at Walsh's thunderstruck expression. "I've had 3 years to study my contract very carefully, Director." Through the morning, an unprecedented negotiation unfolded on the dusty plain. Corporate interests, Vespri diplomacy, and the leverage of two individuals bound by forces neither world fully understood. By midday, the framework of an agreement had formed. "A joint colony," Maya explained to Walsh. "The Vespri establish a presence on Tyrannus to help access and study the water. The corporation gets exclusive rights to distribute it off-world, and the settlers get guaranteed water rights in perpetuity." "And what do you get, Dr. Chen?" Walsh asked suspiciously. Maya glanced at Elior, feeling the warmth of their connection pulse between them. "Research oversight of the entire project and diplomatic recognition of our bond." The Vespri elders remained troubled by the disruption to their planned alliance, but the discovery of crystals similar to their home world had awakened ancient interests. "These formations suggest a connection between our worlds predated both our civilizations. This merits investigation," the lead elder admitted. Elior's intended partner was consulted via holographic connection, and to Maya's surprise, expressed relief rather than anger. The political union had been no more desired on that side than on Elior's. As the negotiations finalized, Maya and Elior stood at the entrance to the cave system that had sheltered them, watching representatives from both sides cautiously interacting. Will it work? Maya wondered aloud. Water finds its level, Elior replied, the familiar saying now carrying new meaning. Our peoples are different, but necessity creates strange confluences. Like us? Maya smiled, feeling their bond hum with contentment. We are something new, Elior said thoughtfully, neither fully Vesperi nor human, but a bridge between worlds. Perhaps that's exactly what both our peoples needed. The Vesperi shuttle departed with the elders, leaving behind specialists to begin work on the water project. The corporate forces withdrew to prepare for the new joint initiative. For the first time since the crisis began, Maya and Elior found themselves momentarily alone. What happens now? Maya asked, gazing out at the harsh landscape that had brought them together, a world that might finally flourish. Elior's skin rippled with patterns that Maya now recognized as expressions of deep emotion. Among my people, there is a ritual for bonds that have been tested and proven true. Not a beginning, but an acknowledgement of what already exists. I'd like that, Maya said softly. Their hands entwined, different in texture and temperature, but fitting perfectly nonetheless. Above them, clouds gathered in Tyrannus's normally clear sky, the first indicators of a changing climate, as the planet's long-buried waters began their journey back to the surface. It will take years, Elior said, eyes on the horizon where the first joint settlement would soon rise. Good thing we have years, Maya replied, feeling the reassuring echo of their shared heartbeats through the bond that had begun with the simple offering of water to a stranger. As they walked toward the future, neither entirely of their original world nor fully of the others, they embodied the promise of something new, a confluence of currents, creating a tide strong enough to reshape worlds.
Between two worlds. The ionic storm howled around them as Maya guided their rover through Tyrannus's twisting canyons. Purple-white lightning split the sky, temporarily illuminating the vast network of dried riverbeds that had once carried water across the planet's surface. Your people chose a challenging world to colonize, Elior observed, their voice barely audible above the tempest. In the storm's electrical discharges, their skin flickered with responsive patterns, a bioluminescence that Maya found mesmerizing. Not much choice these days, she replied. Earth's corporations claimed all the garden worlds generations ago. Frontier planets are what's left for independent settlements. She navigated around a collapsed rock formation. Tyrannus has potential. The geological surveys showed massive underwater aquifers. But something's wrong. We can't access them. The rover's comm unit crackled to life suddenly. Attention, unregistered vehicle. This is corporate security. Your transponder is disabled, a violation of colonial code. Stop immediately. Maya killed the lights, veering into a narrow side canyon. They shouldn't be able to track us through this storm. They're not tracking the rover, Elior said quietly. They're tracking me. As they abandoned the vehicle and continued on foot, Maya felt Elior's guilt washing through their bond. She reached for the alien's hand, surprised by how natural the gesture felt. Don't! You didn't ask for any of this. They found shelter in a cave system Maya had mapped during earlier expeditions. As they made camp, Elior suddenly tensed, eyes fixed on the cave ceiling. What is it? Maya asked. My people. A Vesperi ship has entered this star system. Maya felt her heart constrict. How soon? Days, perhaps? Elior moved closer, their face troubled. Maya, there is something I must tell you. Among the Vesperi, I am not simply a diplomatic emissary. I am Sahalaves, promised in union to create an alliance between collectives. You're engaged, Maya translated flatly, the revelation sending a cold current through her despite the warmth of their bond. It is not like your human marriages. It is political, arranged since my emergence. Elior's fingers found hers. But it pales compared to what has grown between us. The intensity in Elior's gaze made Maya's breath catch. Their connection had deepened daily, shared dreams, emotional resonance, and a physical awareness that made every touch electric. What had begun as a simple act of mercy had evolved into something neither of them had anticipated. What happens if we separate? If you fulfill your obligation? Pain flickered across Elior's features. I have been experiencing discomfort when we are apart. The bond seems to resist separation. I fear it would worsen with distance. So we're trapped together, Maya said, unsure whether to feel imprisoned or relieved. The Vesperi have a saying, water finds its level. Some connections are inevitable. Elior hesitated before continuing. There is an alternative to my return. I could request asylum among humans. The implications staggered Maya. You'd give up everything, your position, your world? What use is position without choice? Elior moved closer, their cool breath fanning Maya's cheek. Since you shared your water with me, I have experienced emotions my people rarely permit themselves. Longing, desire, joy. Maya felt those emotions echoing through their bond, amplifying her own feelings until they were nearly overwhelming. When Elior's lips finally met hers, the contact was like completing a circuit, energy coursing between them, memories and sensations flowing both ways. Their kiss deepened, the alienness of Elior's touch, cooler, smoother, only made the experience more intoxicating. Maya felt herself responding to desires that were both hers and not entirely hers, a feedback loop of pleasure that blurred the boundaries between them. A distant rumble interrupted them. Not thunder, but engines. Corporate security drones. They're systematic, Maya said, reluctantly pulling away. They'll search every cave system. Elior stood, moving toward the deeper recesses of the cave. There may be another option. I sense water, vast quantities below us. Impossible, Maya objected. We've drilled dozens of test wells in these canyons. Elior's skin pulsed with certainty. Trust what I feel. My people evolved in water. We sense its presence across great distances. With security forces closing in from above and the promise of discovery below, they ventured deeper into the planet's ancient secrets, their entwined fate pulling them toward a revelation that could change everything. Part 4. Echoes in the Void. The underground chamber took Maya's breath away. Massive crystal formations rose from a subterranean lake that stretched beyond the reach of their lights. The water gleamed with a faint blue luminescence, undisturbed for perhaps millions of years. This shouldn't be possible, she whispered, her scientific mind racing to understand. Our surveys never detected this. Elior moved to the water's edge, their skin responding to the chamber's natural light with swirling patterns. The crystal formations, they're similar to my home world. They mask water signatures from standard scanning equipment. Maya activated her sampling kit, collecting water and mineral specimens. This could save Tyrannus. There's enough water here to supply the colony for centuries. As she worked, Elior waded into the shallows, their expression one of profound relief. The Vesperi's connection to water went beyond physical need. It was spiritual, essential. Through their bond, Maya felt Elior's joy as if it were her own. Your corporate masters will want to control this, Elior said, after emerging, water droplets clinging to their opalescent skin. Once they know it exists. Then we need leverage, Maya studied her readings. These crystals, they're not just masking the water, they're purifying it, enriching it with minerals. This water has regenerative properties beyond anything in our databases. A tremor passed through the cavern, dislodging small stones from the ceiling. Above,
Corporate security forces were using sonic scanners to map the cave systems. "They're getting closer," Maya said. Elior's expression darkened suddenly. "As are my people. The Vesperi ship has entered orbit." They made camp beside the underground lake, knowing their time together might be measured in hours now. The blue glow from the water cast everything in ethereal light, making the moment feel suspended between realities. "What will your people do when they find you bonded to a human?" Maya asked, lying beside Elior on their makeshift bedding. "The council will demand the bond be severed, despite tradition." Elior's fingers traced patterns on Maya's arm. "My intended union is meant to secure peace between collectives that have long been rivals." "Can the bond be broken?" The thought sent a pang of loss through Maya that surprised her with its intensity. "Historically, only by death." Elior's voice grew softer. "Though there are legends of ancient techniques. But Maya, I do not wish to break it." The confession hung between them. What had started as accidental was now deliberate choice, a defiance of both their world's expectations. Maya closed the distance between them, her lips finding Elior's with new certainty. Their kisses grew urgent, hands exploring the fascinating differences in their physiologies. Elior's skin cooled or warmed in response to touch, creating sensations Maya had never experienced with human partners. Through their bond, each felt the other's pleasure, creating an intimacy that transcended physical union. "I feel you everywhere," Maya gasped, as their bodies moved together. "Inside my mind, under my skin. We are becoming one tide, two currents merging." Their lovemaking was both foreign and familiar, a dance of discovery guided by the bond that let each know exactly what the other desired. When they finally lay spent in each other's arms, the connection between them had deepened further, making separation seem increasingly impossible. Morning brought crisis from both directions. Maya's comm unit, jury-rigged to function underground, flashed with an urgent message. Corporate security had found Elior's crashed ship and issued an arrest warrant for Maya, charged with harboring an unauthorized alien and violating quarantine protocols. Simultaneously, Elior received a telepathic summons from the Vesperi ship. "They demand my return," they said, face tight with tension. "They threaten diplomatic consequences against human settlements if I refuse." Maya paced alongside the luminous lake. "If we revealed this water source, we could negotiate. Your people have the technology to access it without damaging the ecosystem. My people needed to survive." "The Vesperi Council does not bargain," Elior said, but hesitated.
Part 2. Echoes of Connection. For 3 days, Naya barely left the royal nursery. She ran every diagnostic test in her medical arsenal, analyzing Alara's biological readings against both human and Varisian baselines. The infant remained eerily calm in her presence, but resumed her haunting cries whenever Naya stepped more than a few meters away. "It defies conventional medicine," she admitted to Thalen on the evening of the 3rd day. They stood on a balcony overlooking the crystalline bay, its waters reflecting the 3 rising moons. Thalen's gaze remained fixed on the horizon. "During the war, did you encounter any Varisian prisoners?" "A few," Naya answered cautiously. "I treated wounded regardless of species." "Then you might have observed that Varisian children maintain telepathic bonds with their parents until adolescence." He turned to her, his expression vulnerable in the moonlight. "Mira, my wife, was killed when our fleet engaged yours near the Callisto outpost. At that moment, the bond between her and Alara was severed prematurely." Understanding dawned on Naya. "The crying is a child calling for a connection that no longer exists," Thalen finished. "Our healers believe Alara will not survive much longer without it. Her neural pathways are destabilizing." Naya processed this revelation. "But why would my presence affect her?" "That," Thalen said, stepping closer, "is what fascinates and terrifies my council. Somehow your neural pattern resonates with frequencies compatible with our species. It's unprecedented." Their conversation was interrupted by a tall, stern-faced Varisian woman approaching with deliberate steps. "Counselor Vixara," Thalen acknowledged, his posture stiffening. "Your Highness," she replied coldly, before turning to Naya. "Human physician, the High Council requests your presence tomorrow. We have concerns about your intimate involvement with the royal heir." After Vixara departed, Phelan sighed deeply. The conservation faction believes human proximity is dangerous. They would rather risk Ilara's life than explore unconventional solutions. Later that night, while monitoring Ilara's sleep patterns, Naya felt a gentle touch on her shoulder. Phelan had returned, carrying 2 cups of steaming liquid. "Lunar tea," he explained, offering one to her. Their fingers brushed during the exchange, sending an unexpected warmth through Naya's hand. The prince quickly withdrew, but not before she noticed the subtle violet flush deepening across his cheekbones. "What was she like?" Naya asked softly. "Your wife." Pain flashed across Thalen's faces, but he answered, "Mira was brilliant, a scientist who believed our species could learn from humans rather than fear them." He smiled sadly. "She would have appreciated your dedication to our daughter." "And you?" Naya ventured. "What do you believe?" Thalen's eyes met hers. "I believe the universe offers solutions in unexpected forms. Sometimes healing comes from the most unlikely sources." As if on cue, Ilara stirred in sleep, a small whimper escaping her lips. Without thinking, Naya reached into the cradle, her fingers gently stroking the infant's forehead. Immediately, the child calmed. Phelan watched this interaction with wonder. "Tomorrow, after the council meeting, there's something I need to show you in the ancient archives. I think I found references to a similar case from before our recorded history." As he spoke, his hand unconsciously moved closer to Naya's on the cradle's edge, not quite touching, but close enough that she could feel the warmth radiating from his skin. "Whatever happens with the council," Naya promised, "I won't abandon Ilara." What remained unspoken between them, as they stood watching over the sleeping child in the glow of the moons filtering through crystal walls, was that her commitment now extended beyond the infant to the father whose quiet strength and vulnerability had begun to breach the walls around her heart.